What's up guys, and welcome back to another video. We're currently closing down on my second week back in Europe for the first time in 1.5 years after a lovely time in mostly Thailand and a fair bit of Bali as well. So back in Europe, this is gonna be the home base for the next 5 months. I'm currently on a solo mission right now, so no friends, no family, no network at all actually even here. We're just by ourselves, catching up on some work today on this lovely crispy Sunday afternoon in Alicante, Spain. And I show you a bit of the outside area. First, give you a little bit of a round trip of the nice cozy apartment. This is the outside area. It's a bit of a different view than what we had last time in Koh Samui, Thailand, but it will do. Now the place isn't big, but it doesn't really matter as long as it's good, because you need to feel good and operate from a place of abundance, and it actually does add a lot as well from an experience point of view if you're staying in a good place. So this is just gonna be the home base for the next 5 months. The reason why I chose to stay in Alicante is basically very simple, because I've never been here before and I like to go to new places. That's one of the benefits of traveling, that you create more experiences and go to new places. So I booked this place for 5 months, a bit tricky because if you don't like it at all, well then you're stuck here, but I've had very good experiences with Spain. I love it, it kind of feels like a second home to me, and I wanted to try something new. I've been to Marbella, I've been to Barcelona and a little bit in Malaga, but yeah, it had to be at the Mediterranean Sea. So then it's either gonna be Valencia, Malaga again, or Alicante. And I chose Alicante because it has like a perfect size. You can walk around, which is something I really missed in Thailand and as well in Bali, which is a bit of ironic because you have so much beautiful nature at those places, but there is not really an infrastructure made for walking. There's not like a nice boulevard where you can just go outside and it's with a good sidewalk that allows multiple people to walk next to it. It's just a bit messy and everything. So I wanted to go to a place where you can just walk around by foot and stroll through the beautiful old towns. So it has to be the perfect size, at the sea, good location where you can still travel to other places and have a good gym as well. That's a very important one. And Alicante has just that. And every time in the summertime, I get a bit of this FOMO feeling of wanting to be in Southern Europe. I feel like countries like Spain, Greece and Italy, when it's summertime, June, July, August, it's just the best place to be in the world. Experience the culture, experience the good food, be able to walk around in nice old towns, sit at some piazza and have a nice espresso. Lovely. So I figured, you know what, let's just give it a try. Let's just go there for 5 months. We'll see what happens, but it's obviously gonna be great. It always takes a bit of time to get used to a new place, because in the beginning you don't really feel part of the environment. Like if you stay long enough in a place and you really become part of it. And I knew that once it was like the end of 5th month, then I didn't really want to go to the next destination. So it's a good pick anyway. So I just figured, you know what, let's just give it a try. Let's go there for 5 months. Seems pretty sweet, it probably will be. All right, let's give you a little bit of a tour of the apartment before we crack on with our day. All right, this is the kitchen area. As I said as well in my previous video, I don't really care about having a shit ton of money. For me, it's all about having the freedom to live a life of fulfillment and being able to do what you want to do while you still have your youth. So it doesn't have to be big and luxury and everything, but it does have to be good. It does have to be a bit modern and clean and tidied up, because I will be spending a large amount of my time working here. And in order to perform, you need to operate from a state of abundance, and you can't do that if you're living in a shitty place. Plus, it does just improve the experience. If you're living in a less nicer place, and if you reflect on your time in a certain area, then you will automatically kind of think and you associate that entire place with the place you were staying, and therefore didn't like that destination so much, compared to if you lived in a more decent place, then your memories of it are gonna be much better. So it just improves the experience as well. Now the kitchen, we do have a little bit of chicken and egg mixed with some rice that I cooked up as well. Normally, I always do my groceries on Sunday, but here, of course, the supermarkets are closed. So the fridge is pretty empty, man. There's not much in it. There's some milk, there's some chicken, some eggs, some high protein, quark, yeah, some cucumbers, some cheese, and a little bit of a prep meal still in the corner. So this is kind of like an emergency food state right now, and I have some chicken and broccoli left in the freezer. So we'll have to do with this until tomorrow. Normally I always have my food prepped because I don't like to think about my nutrition. I just like to have that on point so I can focus on my priorities. All right, next up, here's the master bedroom. Right, the bedroom area. See if you can see a bit more. I need to get a bigger lens, man. This is way too cropped. I bought a new camera because the old one had to go. It was basically from 1987, too old, but this doesn't show you much of the frame either. But anyway, next up, we have a bit of a storage walk-in closet area. Not too big, but pretty clean. Nice, just good. One of the biggest chunks of my expenses are travel and accommodation, because with moving frequently, you have the flight tickets, you have the deposits for the place you're staying, and you don't really know anything like when you arrive at a new place. So especially in Asia, you're gonna get ripped off here and there, and eventually all these short stays as well, you always overpay a little bit. It all leads you to spending a lot more money than you otherwise would have if you would have just stayed in one place. But well, if you want to travel, if you want something in general, it's more often than not just gonna cost some money. On the other hand, one of the big pros that you will experience is that you're able to draw massive inspiration from the places that you are visiting. Let's say you wanna purchase a home in the future, then because you're staying at so many places, you can really look into what you like about a place or what you don't like about a place. You can take all that knowledge and information with you in your decision making of purchasing your own home. All right, that's enough talking inside. Let's get breakfast. I'm pretty starving right now, and show you a bit of the beautiful sides of Alicante, España. Oh, barely fits nowadays, man. Let's go. We are right now at the boulevard in Alicante. This is a place where I basically go every single day. I like to come here on breaks. It's this beautiful long walking area. It has basically everything you would ever want and need, from shops to restaurants to cafes. This is España at its finest, man. And of course it has as well vitamin C. We have arrived at the beach. Look how freaking packed it is already. It's May, beginning of May, and it's already fully packed, and it's not even sunny. It's actually pretty clouded right now, which is also a bit sad for the video because when the sun hits this place, it looks absolutely gorgeous, but you'll surely see that in future videos. This is what I also meant in the Koh Samui video, that in Koh Samui every beach basically beats the best beaches in Europe and there's no one on it. And here it's May and it's already this packed. Just imagine what it's gonna be like when it hits June, July and August. But still, it's May, it's 25-ish degrees right now. And the weather is still pretty nice and the people are living a good life and they're enjoying and they're chilling. So rightfully so that they are having a day at the beach on this beautiful Sunday afternoon. Alright guys, we're back at the apartment and back in the kitchen. We're about to have our next meal, which is gonna be the chicken and rice with egg that I made earlier in the morning, and I actually got pretty lucky because on my way back home I passed this mini market and I just was gonna look if they have some bread because I'm eating so much bread right now. You don't really eat those things out in Asia. So this is probably like the biggest craving that I've had since I'm back in Europe. And especially in Spain, the perfect place to eat those kind of things, I would say baguette with jamón de serrano. Freaking love that stuff. And Dutch Gouda cheese. Nothing beats Dutch Gouda cheese. So yeah, I had to quickly pick that up. I as well don't have any other fat source in the house, so this still pretty decently scraps all the macros together except for the micronutrients, but I'm eating those at a minimum anyway because I'm still bulking, as you can probably see by the size of my gigantic head right now. So this is gonna be the pre-workout meal before we head out to the gym. I would say about 1000 to 1200 calories. I'll track that after. I always track everything basically 11 years straight, but from the top of my head, after 2+ years of tracking and measuring everything, you have a pretty decent understanding of basically what everything includes just by eyeballing stuff. And still occasionally I would measure it with a measurement scale, like once a month or something, to see if my guesswork is still on, but it basically always has been spot on. We have arrived at Titan Fitness. This is gonna be my go-to gym for the next few months. It's a bit further away from the city center. It takes me about 25 minutes to get here, but I believe it's worth it because it has a great atmosphere, very good equipment. It's maybe not one of the best looking ones. It's not very fancy, high-end looking, but I believe that when it comes to quality equipment, it's one of the best gyms Spain has to offer. A lot of people who go to this gym are pretty serious about their training. They are not here to chit chat and socialize, but they are here to train, which is definitely what I'm about. was a very good session, but not a textbook session, because I'm currently running a chest specialization program, meaning that I basically brought down, in this case, all of my volume back to maintenance volume, except for chest, allowing me to ramp up massively on my chest volume, because you do really have a limited recovery capacity. And when you bring down select muscle groups to maintenance, then you just allow yourself to liberate this chunk amount of systemic stress that otherwise would have been occupied by other muscle groups. So you really increase the systemic limit that otherwise would have been occupied, allowing yourself to ramp up that chest volume, allowing me in this case to bring up my volume to about 24 sets of chest sets to failure per week, which otherwise would have been a lot less. And volume really does help with building muscle mass. In this case, I can really just emphasize my chest growth for a select period of time, because you can't do this year round. Only for 12 to about 20 weeks max, I would say. Otherwise your joints really start to hurt, and then you really need to really prioritize something else or switch up the programming. So yeah, this allows me to experience a lot more growth by emphasizing my programming around my chest. And that means I'm currently right now 3 times a week training. So that would be, for example, Monday chest and back, everything except for chest to maintenance volume. So Monday, for example, chest and back, Wednesday the same, Friday the same. In the days in between, it could be, for example, Tuesday and Thursday, you could do legs, shoulders, and arms. Everything else really to maintenance, so you can ramp up that volume on the muscle group that you really want to focus on. This is not really something for beginners. This is more something that you do when you are very advanced. When you're still starting out on your fitness journey, it's a very important time, because in this time you need to make sure that you focus on the basics. Because if you do things wrong, if you learn the wrong habits, then eventually it's very hard to undo these wrong habits. This is something I very often see when I'm coaching people. Sometimes people who never stepped foot in the gym before are much easier to coach and book progress with, because they're almost like a clean canvas. You can just learn them all the right habits and behaviors and techniques, everything from the start. Whereas sometimes you have people who've been lifting for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 years and have been doing stuff wrong. It takes much longer to make progress, because you need to spend so much time on unlearning certain habits and behaviors that they've had. And learning all these new things always comes with a bit of resistance, because people are always skeptical when it comes to learning new things. Everything that's new always raises a bit of concern. So then you also often need to make sure that you make them understand and believe and have trust in those new things, in addition to simply unlearning it. All the neurological patterns that they've learned themselves when they're doing exercise that have been wrong, it's a lot harder to unlearn it than to learn the right stuff straight from the beginning. So for people who are starting out on their fitness journey, remember to just focus on the basics and focus on learning to properly execute an exercise. Focus on proper technique, because if you don't, and if you start to lift too heavy, then you'll guaranteed just get injured, and you simply just don't need to. And in addition, it just unnecessarily upsets the stimulus to fatigue ratio, which then makes you lose out on even more muscle building potential. So just focus on learning to do the exercises correctly, and understand that it's going to take years. People always overestimate what they can do in the short term and underestimate what they can do in the long term. Building your dream physique or building a very good, solid, well-rounded physique is going to take years, 4, 5, 6 years, and not 1 or 2. You can make great results in the first 1 or 2 years, the majority of it actually, but getting to that really like final physique level where you're like, wow, holy shit, this is like near to, or actually my dream physique, is going to take you 4, 5, 6 years. A lot of people at first think that there's not so much to training. You just need to show up consistently, and all the problem awareness lies within nutrition. But in reality, there's much more to improve when it comes to training than nutrition. So bear that in mind. I don't know, man, as I get older, I notice that I enjoy being by my own company more and more. Of course, being all about the fitness lifestyle obviously adds to that because you're dedicated, focused on your grind. But I've always kind of been a bit of that lone wolf. And that's why I also like to travel by myself, because when I'm by myself as well, I just get creative, I think, I'm able to strategize, I'm able to recharge, and I'm able to have new ideas. And I don't really get that so much when I'm around other people. You can just literally do whatever you want, whenever you want to do it, and don't have to think about anything else. You are literally just looking out for yourself and looking after yourself and being able to do whatever you want. You don't have to please or think about anyone else. And if you've never tried that before, I reckon you try it. And in addition, I think it's actually a must to be able to be very good on your own, because most people aren't. Most people can't really be by themselves. But I think it should be a condition for you to be ready to, for example, hop into a relationship. Because if you are able to be good on your own, then it's going to be much easier for you to set boundaries and have open, good communication. Because a lot of people, they aren't really okay with that, and they're afraid of losing that partner or that person if they speak out at a certain moment in time. But eventually that only leads to lack of communication, and most of the relationships in life really end because of lack of communication. Something starts very small and it just grows into something very big, and then the road of the least resistance comes up, and then it's probably easier to just pull out of it, which leaves one person heartbroken and could have been prevented easily in the first place if you have good communication. You know what you're able to take, you're open to communicate your feelings, and just have a much better operating relationship. And you're also not afraid to step out when you might have to, because you're able to be good on your own. A lot of people just stay with the wrong person because they simply just don't want to be by themselves or think they can get anything else, which is sad. So I reckon you give it a try and become good at it, and notice how good life really can be. Just being able to sit here, have a good time, do whatever the heck I want, and at whatever time I want. If I want to sit here for 30 minutes to an hour, I can just do that. If I want to go prep a meal, I can do that. If I want to go hit the gym, I can do that. If I can hit up the beach, I can do that. I can literally just do whatever the heck I want, not having to take anything else into consideration. To give you a very good review of what Alicante is like, I would really have to spend a bit more time here because it's just my second week. But I do understand why people like to live here, because it's a very peaceful environment and it's very scenic, it's very beautiful. And I notice in every new place that I come, I always feel like, oh, I can live here. Oh, I can definitely live here. When I went to Bali, I could definitely see myself living there. When I went to Miami, I could see myself living there. Marbella, I could see myself living there. Dubai, I could see myself living there. But right now, I feel like within Spain, or my favorite place to be, I would say is Marbella. But you could argue that it's a bit boring. It's a bit small, there's not much else to do. It's also very beautiful, very scenic. And here in Alicante, there's just a lot more to do. It's a bigger place, almost like 30-40% bigger, I would say. There's more things to see and to do than in Marbella, but you know, I would have to spend some more time here. Often when you go to a new place, you really need to become part of the environment. In the beginning, you really feel more like you're visiting. I even had that in general when I got back to Europe, that I felt like Asia was more home to me than this, for example. It's kind of felt like I know it, as if it's almost like a previous life, because I've been away for so long. I know what it's like, but I don't really feel like I'm part of it anymore. And I really became part of Bali and Thailand when I was there, simply because I spent such a significant amount of time over there. But if I'll do the same right here, I'm sure month 4 or 5, when it's the end of my stay, I will feel exactly the same. And then I'm very curious to see what my opinion is and if I would prefer this as my most favorite place in Spain. But one thing's for sure, it's a very amazing place. It's very cool and it's very promising. And it's very lively, gorgeous, scenic, good gyms, good food, good people. So it really is just a matter of time until I probably will say, oh, I can definitely see myself living here as well. I guess the place that fits you best just depends on what you are looking for in that moment in your life. But one thing's for sure, there are a lot of beautiful, awesome places under the sun, and you can make the center point of the world anywhere you want it to be. Anyway, that was that. Just a little update from my end since I'm back in Europe now, wearing normal clothing again, which is for me just already a bit weird. Maybe not massively entertaining for you, this little vlog, but it certainly was for me on this nice Sunday afternoon. For sure, more to come from this home base. If you liked it, please do not forget to support, like, subscribe, and comment. And if you're interested in reaching your dream physique and you're struggling with a few things, then hit up the link in my bio. We can set up a meeting where we can look, one, into which steps that you need to take to reach your dream physique, and two, to what extent I might be able to help you. Anyway, that was that from this time. See you. Bye.